It's Tennessee.Frank.
Hey guys, Tennessee.Frank here. I'm bringing you a real quick video on the cables I got. I went ahead and picked these cables up, and these are by Greeley. And what I can do now is, you see how I got this screwed onto the battery. I don't have to use those clips. I did have to change the ends on these cables. The way it was set up, I would have had to put the red cable on the negative and the black cable on the positive, because the way this plugs in. And I found that out by doing a continuity test. Basically what you do, let me get this here set. You'll take your volt ohm meter, you'll set it to ohms, then you take your leads and you put it from one end of the cable, unhooked from the battery of course, one end of the cable after it's plugged in, and you check the ground on say like on this Anderson, and see if it reads 0, then there's no resistance. That means that's the right cable. If it's open, then there's something wrong. You'll try the next one. And when I did, the black cable hooked in to my multiple thing here, the black cable was coming over to the red, the hot, and the red cable was going to the ground. And that's because these ends they put on them weren't plugged in correctly. So what I had to do was unscrew the ends, pop the ends off, take the little connector that's in there off, swap it over, recrimp it, and I went ahead and soldered it just to make sure it's not going to come off, that I'll have a good connection. But you see, I do have this plugged into my multi-connector, which this is really handy. Right now I got the 5521. Let's see if I can get that turned back on. Got it plugged in, 5521. And I'm charging this little power station. You can see I'm bringing in 38 watts from this battery. I can use the XT60 and plug in, charge this power station. If I got an Anderson connector on a power station, I got it. I mean, whatever I need is right here on this multi-connector hooked into here. And then also I'll check, make sure the solar panel hookup is going to be correct also. Always double check your leads though. You can't always assume that red's hot and black is ground. You always got to check that, like I said, with your meter, do a continuity test. Another thing, you always want to get your battery and make sure your voltage is consistent with your power stations. A lot of power stations will take anywhere from like 12 to 24 volt or 12 to 36 volt. I've even seen them up like 12 to 60 volt. There are some though you got to watch. I had a Pecron power station that I sent back. It needed 36 volts just to even trigger it to start charging. Most all of my panels are anywhere from 12 to 18 volts, so I didn't have enough voltage to trigger that to charge. So I just went ahead and sent it back, because it's hard to find a 36 volt panel, and when you do, they're very expensive. So yeah, always match your panels to your power stations. Make sure the voltage from them will work with the power stations, and match your battery. Say if you had a power station that needed 24 volts to trigger it, 12 wouldn't do. You'd have to get a 24 volt battery, or get two 12.8s and hook them babies in series, and that would give you your 24 volts. If I got another 20 amp hour battery, I could hook it in parallel, and I would actually be getting 12.8 volts, and I'd be getting 40 amp hours. So that would be a pretty cool way to go. But like I said, I'm trying to save up and get a 50 amp hour battery. That would give me quite a few watt hours. But anyway, just a quick video just to let you know, black isn't always ground, and red's not always hot. You gotta measure them things, make sure they're right, before you hook them up, and sometimes you got to swap connectors. So like I always say, either we stand up for our rights or we sit by and watch them go away. You all have an awesome rest of the day. We'll talk to you later. TN.Frank out of here.